Yes, another episode of the DNA show, the Donnie and Nancy show. The DNA of the black and blue runs right through our veins. All right. So, hey, we got some new news, breaking news. Someone's taking over here in the Carolinas. Panthers' new head coach, Frank Reich. That's what we're talking about today. Offensive minded, first one, offensive minded in Panthers history. The big ones are Capers, John Fox, Ron Rivera, um, and even Steve Wilkes. Not going to count the one guy. We don't really like him. Um, we have ruled him out. All right. So, all defensive minded. And now this is the first guy with an offensive mind to bring to Carolina, and we're excited. So, um, before we dive into it any deeper, first thoughts, real quick, first thoughts on this new hire.
Static, static. I I mean, kind of how we said it in our Instagram post, man. He's back home, and what I mean by that is once a former player, man. He was responsible for throwing the first touchdown pass in franchise history. That's pretty damn cool, man. It's dope as hell. But so he did his time in Carolina. Um, was responsible for so like I said, some of the most important memories in Panthers history. Like literally, we were a baby franchise. He was the quarterback there, and that's awesome, man. But we're getting a proven winner. Yes, I did say winner. Yes, I did say winner. Look at his, but we'll get into all that. A good offensive minded head coach as well. He's done a lot of good things in this league, not only as a coach but also as a coordinator. It's a wide receiver coach, and things of that nature. Offensive quality coach, offensive assistant. He's done all the good things to make him hireable. And not only is his history as a Panther, now if he does well, he'll be a Panthers legend. But I mean, it's cool, man. This is dope that we got a guy he's also been regarded as one of the best men of the league. People really respect him. With his off the field personality, or even on the field, people love him, and he's people admire him. So we got a really good guy here. We got a really good coach who's going to help this young team, and he's going to put a spark not only in our offense, but we're also going to, I think, solidify our defense within the next 2 years into a defense. But great hire, man. I like Frank Reich a lot, not only as a coach, but I love his history here, and I think it'd be a beautiful story if we can get a Lombardi Trophy with Frank Reich. It all started, man. So happy.
Yep. Next step is for him to surround himself with offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator of his choice. So the team is being handed to him. Let's see what he does with it. Pretty excited. But the reason we got the job, had to hand in a resume, right? Well, we got that resume, so let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
All right, so looking at Frank Reich and his resume, his professional strengths, he's a player experience, as Donnie mentioned, former Carolina Panther, Bills, Jets, Lions, all that. He has some head coach experience. He's a Super Bowl champion with the Eagles as offensive coordinator there. Total of 16 years NFL coaching experience, and he was an NFL offensive coordinator, and again, head coach as well. So, now as a player from University of Maryland in 1984, the quarterback there, a lot of records there for him, and here in the NFL. Drafted in 1985, round 3, pick 57 for the Buffalo Bills, Carolina Panthers, New York Jets, and the Detroit Lions, who he's all played for. Now, his history as coaching, his career history, started off in Indianapolis Colts. That was his first big job. He was an assistant and stuff like that before that, but his first big job was in 2009, a quarterback coach. Then after that, moved to wide receivers coach. Left there in 2012 when the Arizona Cardinals were wide receivers coach. After that, went to San Diego Chargers from 2013 to 2015 as a quarterbacks coach, bumped up to offensive coordinator. Went to the Eagles, won a Super Bowl with those guys, offensive coordinator there. In 2016, 2 years there. 2018, gets the head coaching job for the Indianapolis Colts. His first head coaching job there from 2018 to 2022. Now, people will kind of dive in this a little bit and they'll look at everything, look at stats, pull their own stats up, and a lot of people just kind of try to look for the bad. But Donnie's going to take it even deeper look at what exactly happened here, there, and everywhere. Because people are saying, "Well, yeah, he did good here, but then this, but then this, but then this." But Donnie, pull your notes out and tell us exactly what
Hmm.
happened here with Frank Reich and some of the situations he was put in, and how he was able to still maintain good composure and be successful like he is. Here we go. Let's take a look at Donnie's notes.
Yeah, man. So
Hold on a second. Okay.
to get some rumblings around the league. Back in 13, he was paired with Phillip Rivers. Spent 3 years there with him as a QB coach in the OC. But his first gig was with Phillip Rivers, like big time gig. That like I said, helped him push himself up the ranks. And he and Phillip Rivers were paired together. His first year there, he was his QB coach. Ironically, Phillip Rivers made the Pro Bowl in 13 and threw nearly 4,800 yards, had 29 touchdowns in 2015 as uh, his OC. So, secondly, man, the biggest project he's known for was him being behind the progression of Carson Wentz. It was his offensive coordinator from 16 to 17. Ironically, his first year as a rookie in 2016, Carson Wentz that was. And then 1 year after, listen at that. 1 year after his first official start, he took his team all the way to the Super Bowl. Frank Reich was behind that specific strategy and the progression, man, which I think is, second to none offensive coordinator work. Everyone's going crazy over Shane Stitchen out in Philly. I mean, what kind of leap? Anthony, could you agree on that? What a leap that is.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Hopefully the same thing happens here.
absolutely. Like I said, Carson goes from a rookie, having some growing pains, throwing some picks, and then 1 year later, he's behind leading his team to the Super Bowl and was playing like MVP. And ironically, the man behind it was Frank Reich. And it's crazy. The year they won the Super Bowl, again, as we already know, Frank Reich was the OC. But Frank Reich did it with not only Carson Wentz, but he did it with the legend of Philly, Nick Foles. Now Carson Wentz went down the last went down the last game of that 2017 season, the regular season game, and Nick Foles finished the whole thing out, man. And my God, did it ever work out? Nick Foles ended up winning Super Bowl MVP. And this looked like the old Nick Foles back in 2013. So big shout out to Frank Reich for knowing his shit and being a very, very skilled and advanced offensive coordinator. And as you see, and as most know, Frank Reich was hired back in 18, took over a pretty much struggling, Indianapolis Colts team. Andrew Luck had been riddled with injuries after that 2014 season. And they were kind of in purgatory until Andrew Luck met with the man, the now Panthers coach, the Panther legend, Frank Reich. And in his first year in Indianapolis, he took that team 10-6 now here's the biggest kicker, after starting 1-5. Now, if you do the math, it looks like he won 9 straight, practically. Almost 9 straight, I think. That's how it ended. So, that's in his first year. Usually the first year, it takes a lot for someone to buy in and to make it that far. They made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. And they ended up losing to, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, who made a hell of a run that year. Andrew Luck had a bounce-back season, making it to the Pro Bowl. Unfortunately, the year after, man, Andrew Luck retired at the preseason. And this is where I don't like a lot of slack and slander for Frank Reich, man. But your franchise quarterback retires on you in the preseason. How can you bounce back? You go all off season planning around one guy, and all of a sudden he says, "Hey, I'm done," in the middle of preseason. People need to take a little bit of a deeper look into how detrimental that could be to a coach who's really trying to, reinvigorate the offense and help help take it one step further and take them to the Super Bowl. But anyway, he was paired with Jacoby Brissett. Unfortunately, the team went 7-9. But hey, listen, that's pretty impressive going going from having a damn franchise, changing quarterback to him
Right.
retiring and managing to get 7 wins that season. To me, I think that's solid. And I think a lot of coaches would fold in that situation. 2020, acquired Phillip Rivers. That was with COVID. That was a COVID season, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very interesting season because the San Diego Chargers had let go of Phillip Rivers, and they had good reason. They had Justin Herbert, who is now looking like amongst some of the best in the league at quarterback.
Right.
So I can't necessarily blame the Chargers, but anyway, man, hey, Frank Reich said, hey, listen, Phillip, instead of you retiring, man, come on out to Indy. I mean, you did a lot of good shit together out in San Diego. Come on out and join me. And my God, they had a really good run, man. They went 11-5. What a bounce back season. And Phillip Rivers was damn near 40 years old, when he took that job. That speaks a lot of volume. Offense was pretty potent that year too. They were a young team. And so the year after, Phillip Rivers retired, deservingly so. He had a great career. And he got Carson Wentz in 2021. Now, for granted, they didn't make the playoffs, but they went 9-8, which is above 500. I'm not trying to say, settle for mediocrity here, but again, when you go 11-5, you're not going to have a high draft pick. And it's hard to find that superstar caliber, quarterback that late in the draft. So he ended up getting Carson Wentz, and they went 9-8. But people talk shit about Carson Wentz, and damn his old hell, as the great Anthony fan would say. And I mean, Carson Wentz didn't really play as bad as people said. I mean, he had 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. It's not horrible. It's not that bad to me. But
good.
So, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, and his time in Indy, man, his entire time there, top 5 scoring offense in 3 of his 5 seasons. Again, I mean, dude had a lot of turnover there in Indy because again they typically drafted late. And I mean, how many times do you find a stud quarterback that late in the draft? I mean, you don't find many Lamar Jacksons hanging around late in the first round,
right?
Without some sort of difficulty in developing him. So that speaks volume, man. We want to go offense, and we're getting straight up offense here, man. Top 5 scoring offense in 3 of his 5 seasons. And I'm going to go on a limb and say minus at quarterback. I know people are like, well, that's a big ass red flag. Well, minus at quarterback. And I'm going to wrap it up here. I know I'm going on a tangent, but I want these fans to realize who we're getting here.
No, sir. Your notes.
I think this is a wonderful situation he's going to walk into, because now I think we're going to be aggressive and we're going to try to push up in the draft. But anyway, we're picking at 9, and I think Frank Reich can find his guy in the draft this year. And I think this is arguably the most talented receiving core he's ever got his hands on. Now the offensive line, when he took over at first season with Luck and they made the playoffs, he had a really good offensive line that year. But our offensive line's just ridiculously talented and young. So we have a young left tackle, young guards. Bradley Bozeman is going to be 29. Hopefully we resign him. Still a young right tackle. So he's got a very, very, very good offense he's going to walk himself into once he gets quarterback in his future. And lastly, Frank Reich is, 40, 33-1. It's not like Frank Reich is 33, 40-1. Let's put some damn respect on his name, man. We're not getting a bum here. And again, we're getting a leader of men. So that's kind of all I have with my notes. I know I went on a little tangent, but I wanted the fans to realize, man, that we're getting a good one here, man. We're getting a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. And back to us here. So, and that's a phenomenal job on your notes there. A deeper dive.
Appreciate it.
I wish more people would do a deeper dive before they just talk. Because there was not a lot. I wouldn't say there was a lot. I think majority of people are happy with this. I know they wanted Steve Wilkes, but everyone was okay to get Frank Reich. John Nellis, who's a Panthers reporter, you follow him on Twitter. He does all kind of breakdowns of footage. Oh, he's the man. He is the man when it comes to reporting on the Panthers. He said something. He said 2 things can be true at the same time. You can be happy for Frank Reich, and you can be sad that we didn't get Steve Wilkes. You can be both. It's okay to do that. So, and we wish Steve Wilkes well on his future. I hope they find a way to bring him back, but probably not. But I'd love to have him. So yeah, and great job there. So Donnie took you into deeper waters and showed you what the situation was. A lot of people would just look at the record, would just look how he finished, nothing else, no stats, no situational stuff, none of that. Um, kind of like what they do with Cam Newton in Super Bowl 50. They just kind of look at the stats, going back and forth right now on our TikTok with someone about that. Um, but he's not looking at the full picture here. So Donnie provided the full picture with you there, and it's all great. The stock has risen in the Carolinas, and great hire. Uh, Kudos to Tepper for doing that. Maybe it was his wife sitting in on the on the interviews that sometimes you do need a woman's perspective, and
And he took his time, which is good.
took his
He
time.
took his.
Yes, sir. Um, and not that women can't do it. Of course they can. Yeah. But normally you just don't see it. But he brought his wife in, and I think she was a part of some of the interviews, and they look at it a different way, and they see stuff. And he's already had one interview with the Panthers. It was a sit down on social media. Seems like a great guy. Him and his family are all coming, excited to be back in Carolina. And he's all business. He already said he's not looking to hire friends and all that stuff. He's looking to hire the best of the best and win us the Super Bowl. So hopefully he's the one that does it. And if he's not the one that does it, maybe he ushers in the next uh, coach after him that takes it and does it. And if that's what it is, and that's what it is. So excited to have him. DNA shows excited to have him, and hey, wish nothing but the best, and we think the best is yet to come. So, um, yeah, final say so here, sir. Your thoughts on the new leader of Frank Reich in the Carolinas. Last thought
Yeah,
here.
man, happy. Very optimistic. When Matt Rule was hired, I was, I try to be optimistic, but I was very worried. A lot of uncertainty. Here, I feel at peace because again, his history with the team, once being a former Panther. I mean, of course, I mean, he went to Indianapolis. Showed that he could put together some winning seasons with quarterbacks whose franchises either, were in it. Andrew Luck. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen to him after 2017. He missed all of 2017, and first year at Andrew Luck playoffs. Um, 2 years after that, hey, listen, Chargers gave up on Philip Rivers, made the playoffs, won 11 games. Lots of like here. We got a winner. We have a very good offensive-minded head coach. We have a good man. And like I said, a Panther legend technically. And I'm going to treat him as legendary pitcher, him and Sam Mills. It actually kind of gave me chills when the Panthers posted that. So history, legacy, the keep pounding mantra right amongst us. So, and also I just want to take a quick second to say, man, Steve Wilkes, you'll never see it. I appreciate everything you've done. I loved you when you were once our secondary coach back in 2013 when we got you. Um, Great defensive coordinator, great man. Unfortunately, things didn't work out with him. I appreciate him for turning around our season and giving us something to be happy about. And we had playoff hopes, and I felt as though we were going to be playing a meaningful game for the first time in 5 years. Unfortunately, we didn't. But it's the concept of him getting us there. That's why I got nothing but love and respect for Coach Steve Wilkes, and I hope
Yes.
the that man. He deserves the best. He handled not being hired in the most professional way.
Yes, sir.
He represents the Carolinas well. He represents Charlotte well, and I hope to God whoever gets him, gives him a good situation to flourish because he's a very smart football mind as well. I don't like people questioning his ability to know X's and O's. So, Steve Wilkes, love you. Hey, but Frank Reich, welcome home. Not welcome to Carolina. Welcome home. Happy to have you back, man. So let's go do this thing. Let's go hoist the Lombardi Trophy and let's write that story that many people would love to write about the Carolinas. Frank Reich starting in Carolina, hopefully ending his career in Carolina as a Super Bowl winning head coach. So lots of like here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree. Echo everything you say. Hey, good hire. Can't wait to have him. And I want to end the show with this. You talked about Steve Wilkes didn't get the job, and but he handled it with professionalism. We love you, Steve Wilkes, from on behalf of the DNA show. Man, nothing but love. But he tweeted out The sun rose this morning, and by the grace of God, so did I. I'm disappointed, but not defeated. Many people aren't built for this, but I know what it means to preserve and see it through. It was an honor for me to coach those men in the Carolina Panthers locker room as interim head coach. Players, coaches, and staff, thank you for your hard work and dedication. I took pride in representing Charlotte, a great city that I love so much. Thank you to my family, friends, and the community for the overwhelming support. I do wish Frank Reich all the best. I will always be a fan of the Carolina Panthers football team. Hashtag keep pounding. Hashtag Psalms 37, chapter 37, verses 23, 24. Man, that right there just gives you chills. So, and with that, Frank Reich, it's now your team. Let's go get these wins. Let's go get this Vince Lombardi trophy. On behalf of these fans, Sam Mills and Steve Wilkes. DNA Show, thank you for joining us. More to come. Light at the end of the tunnel, as Donnie says. And as always, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.